The markets are still quiet, so listen to these nuggets. 80% of all the government spending on health and education in India is done not by the central government, but by state governments. Only 20% of all investment in education comes from the centre. Yet the central government has the largest bureaucracies, ministries for health, education and rural development, all of which are actually state subjects. Over 65% of the capital outlay by governments in India is undertaken by state governments. Only 1/3 is undertaken by the centre, yet it is the centre which runs huge revenue deficits leading to dis-saving. At the moment, it stands at about 2.2% of GDP. Successful state programs are routinely appropriated by the centre. States are forced to implement them with their money and their staff, and the entire credit is taken by the centre. These are some of the nuggets we got from India's Fiscal Federalism, a new book authored by former RBI Governor Y.V. Reddy, along with another economist, G.R. Reddy, who is a member of the Indian Economic Service. Y.V. Reddy argues that successive central governments have contravened the spirit of cooperative federalism in the constitution and replaced it with coercive federalism. Here's a brief chat on his book with Y.V. Reddy himself. Fiscal federalism is still a matter of a lot of contention. Right now, one state government, Kerala, is complaining to the centre that we gave free land for Thiruvananthapuram airport, and you have, instead of giving its governance to KSIDC, you have given it to a private party. And the centre is complaining to the states in general that we want to give income to farmers, but you are not giving us land records. So fiscal federalism is still a lot of contention. Let us begin with what Pinarayi Vijayan is saying. Do you think he has a point when he complains that the management of Thiruvananthapuram airport should have been given to the state-owned company?
Okay, first let me clarify that this book is Fiscal Federalism. This essentially deals with imbalances, vertical and horizontal imbalances. In a way, its scope does not extend to all fiscal relations between centre and state.
Okay, fair enough.
But still, it's relevant, I mean, because it has fiscal implications. There's no doubt about that. Third, that what's a perspective point of view. Kerala Chief Minister, I think his stand is that I have given land because it is a Government of India airport, and therefore we have given all the facilities. Now, if you are privatizing it, then you have to pay for my share of the facilities, or I should have been involved. I think any state government, or in fact even if it's a private party which has given, so I think there is a fair point there. I think it's very difficult to find fault with the fairness. And now it's not necessary the central agrees, because in many other cases before, the central government, the central enterprise have taken the land and they sold and they did not share it with the states. Okay. But I think that has been the complaint of the states, that whenever there is an opportunity, they are exploited. I think that's why I'm asking for empirical evidence even in my book.
What about the centre's complaint that they have this farm income, but very few states have given them data? Is that fair on the part of the states to stand in the way?
No, I think it's unfair, but except the state's point of view is very simple. Cooperative federalism means the centre cooperates with states, and states cooperate with the centre. But every time you can't say, this is what I want, you cooperate. So the state government can say, tell us in how many schemes you cooperate, you have supported us.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, the staff is the state government.
Yes.
There was no consultation about the scheme. So in a way, except that it's your scheme for which I have to pay money, I refer to it in the book also. Yes. So I think ultimately the question is whether something is a jointly arrived at program. Then there will be joint ownership. So the best way of having such national programs is perhaps to make any such scheme a joint scheme of union and states, describe it as such, then there will be ownership. Otherwise it becomes a competition for taking credit, and that is not the best way of working out a federation.
Yes. Let me just read out one part on page 77 of the book where you say that the entire credit is taken by the central government, whereas the schemes are jointly funded and the implementation is done entirely by the states. That is perhaps then the state's argument.
Yes.
Okay, now let me play devil's advocate. The centre has started a lot of schemes over the last 75 years, which, the centre's bureaucracy is elite. The politicians are better informed, better educated. So are not central schemes, more useful? Are they not, the social expenditure, for instance, whether it is Sarvasiksha Abhiyan or MNREGS, are they not qualitatively superior?
Let me put slightly differently. I was secretary in the state government. I went as joint secretary in the centre. So have I become better because I went to the centre? Most of the bureaucracy in the centre, so-called elite bureaucracy, have been going from the state. So I don't know on what basis one can say that they're superior. Or you can say that they are taken from outside IAS or whatever it is. Again, you can check up the background, whether they become better than where they are supposed to be. As far as politicians are concerned, I don't know if you have to choose between being a chief minister and union cabinet minister. What would any politician in India prefer? So that means, do you mean that if you don't become a chief minister, you become a better person, you become a union minister? That's what again I keep saying, there's an impression. There's an impression. And now, for instance, I'll just tell you, just pick up Ministry of Agriculture in Government of India. Just pick up the list of joint secretaries, deputy secretaries, find out their background, and in what way it is related to agriculture. And agriculture is essentially a state subject. And the Agriculture Ministry is one of the largest in Government of India.
Oh.
Agriculture, education and health, these three are essentially state government functions. Concurrent list is only because of advanced research, but the largest bureaucracy is there. So my point again is, please prepare the areas in which you say that they know the central government has, because I worked in both and I don't think I was better when I was in the center than this.
Okay. Well, there's very rich data in that book and much of it is explained in this conversation. You can catch the entire conversation at 5:30 p.m. today. Wrap up on Bazaar, trading ideas coming up for you on Chartbusters.